Hey guys, hope you're doing well. Today we're going to be upgrading my factory headlights to the set of RGB Mustang style headlights from Striker Lights. So these headlights just out of the box are a really nice upgrade over the factory headlights because rather than a single projector, you now have dual projectors. You have a black housing with a clear lens, so it gives it this really nice and sleek look. And it is styled after the S550, so it gives it a little bit more of that aggressive look that I really like. That's just these headlights, so you can buy them as is, but these specifically were sent over to Striker Lights to get a full RGB treatment, so you have RGB in the gills as well as RGB in the halos, and these things look absolutely insane. Now the install is actually pretty simple, so let me show you guys the components that go into this. And lucky for us, we have a helper today that can keep us some company while we hang out in the garage. What'd you think, bud? You like the idea? Alright, let's get to it. Now the wiring might look like a lot just because it is a good bit of wires, but I think Striker Lights does a really good job of breaking this down for you to really simplify the overall install. So to kind of give you guys a little rundown of how we're going to go about this, with the battery disconnected and starting with the grounds as it says to do right here, all we're going to do is get a self tapper and connect this O-ring to metal. So we're going to be connecting it right here by the strut tower. And then right here for the positive end, all we're going to do is connect it to this terminal on the fuse box to run power. Now you'll notice for the turn signals you have a good bit of wire, and that's really just because it has to reach both ends of the front of the vehicle, being that you're going to tap into the main headlight harness as one of the wires there. This one specifically is for the turn signals. All you're going to do is expose that wire and wrap this wire around it to make contact, and we are going to solder this, but we just want to make sure everything works first. We have everything loosely mocked up, so we have everything plugged in. As you can see, we have the modules here. We are going to be running the wires here and tucking everything up, making it look clean. But first, we're going to test them out, so let's go ahead and connect the battery. Oh, I heard something. Let's see. They are on. So it's actually really easy. It was basically just connecting to power and then plugging everything into itself, so that made the job pretty simple. I believe I have the right app to connect everything. So this one's going to be the gills right here. This looks insane. So this is the main upgrade. If you guys are asking about, these compared to my old headlights, the gills. So the gills in my old ones, I didn't actually do anything to. It was mainly just the halos. These are fully done up, and they're basically just cycling a bunch of show modes, which is pretty cool. But let's go ahead and button everything up so we can get this all situated. Now, one thing I really like about this setup is that these connectors are basically the same. One is for the gills and one is for the halos. We just got to figure out which is which so we can route everything accordingly. Now this module right here is for the halos. We know that because one, it has the extra connector for the turn signals, which is going to be the halo just flashing, as well as the fact that it is, if you can see that, it says this module was actually for a set of C6 Corvette taillights, which I love Corvettes and their taillights are circular, so that checks out. So a really easy way to do is to grab one of the connectors and just plug it in and see what turns on. So now we know this connector is for the gills, and there they are, orange right there. And following, the other connector is going to be for the halos, so if we connect that, there you go. Just want to take a quick second to tell you guys about my partner for this video, Mint Mobile. You can join the nation's largest 5G mobile network for as little as $15 a month. And while switching mobile networks can sound like a big, drawn-out, tedious task, if you have a phone and about 15 minutes, that's pretty much all you need because they sell directly to you online, so you don't need to leave the comfort of your own home to do the switch. And they do this by the use of a digital SIM card called eSIM, but if for whatever reason your phone is not compatible with eSIM, they'll send you a physical one free of charge. And a really nice feature that they have is every single plan they offer comes with unlimited talk and text, lightning fast 5G, and free mobile hotspot. And if you want to do the switch but you don't want to do it alone, it's no worries whatsoever because they have modern family plans available with as little as 2 lines. If you're interested in reliable coverage and fast data for a fraction of the cost, go to trymintmobile.com/Tito to get started. or you can also scan this QR code right here. I want to give a big shout out to Mint Mobile, and now back to the install. With the RGB functionality of the headlights working, now comes the very tedious job of accounting for all the wiring. Being that I did clean the engine bay and I'm trying to keep this area clean and looking better just on a daily basis, don't want to leave anything looking like spaghetti, so we're going to go about routing the wires. We're going to start probably over here with the power, just because we can pretty casually just tuck this up over here. We'll be able to, I believe, isolate most of it over here, being that the modules are over here as well, with the only real thing being the little red, white, and green wires over here to extend to the other headlight. Same with the wire for the turn signals. So we're going to button everything up. I did figure I would go ahead and use some of these little wire sleeves. These are something that actually help clean up the engine bay a ton, because it's actually something very similar to what they use already. So this stuff works pretty easily. It basically just has like a little slit in it. You just put the wire in there and it keeps it protected. So we're going to go this route just to try to make everything look as best as possible, so you're not really drawn into all these different wires left and right. Eventually. We are about 20 minutes away from wrapping everything up, so we have majority of the wires situated. We have the power right there, ground's right there, and we did sleeve everything up to make it look nice and uniform with the vehicle. And it comes down here underneath the headlight, because the connection points are on the bottom of the headlight, and there's also a bunch of factory connections right here as well, so I figured I would just kind of stick those together. Now, if you guys are wondering what the sleeve process looks like, as of right now, we are putting the last sleeve on the wires that connect to the passenger side headlight. Now, the cool thing about these, obviously on top of protecting the wires, is that they make it look a lot more uniform with the rest of the vehicle, because if you try to hide these wires in there, they're gonna pop, being that they're relatively bright colors. But you can see when you put that in there, it hides it pretty well, especially considering there's other sleeves in there from the factory. So this definitely helps make everything look as uniform as possible. Everything is looking good. The wiring is all secured, so let's go ahead and button everything up on the front end so we can take the car outside and actually dig into some of the functionality of these headlights, because right off the bat, you'll notice that the gills have some nice RGB effects. That's something that my old headlights did not have. So the fact that these have this nice flow effect, I really, really like that. But really curious to see what else there is, because I believe there's like a ton of different modes that we can figure out. I'm trying to get both headlights in the same shot, but we're already at the back wall of the garage. Now, one thing I think I'm going to do is replace the lens, because as used headlights, they're not going to be in the pristine condition that you buy brand new headlights with. But lenses aren't super expensive, and I think it just gives these a really nice, like, brand new feel. So getting the feel of my old headlights with some more functionality is really cool. Are you guys ready for a reveal? A more proper reveal, if anything, being that you guys already saw these things. But here are the headlights. They look so cool, and they're very, very bright to the point where I did have to adjust the settings, so it looks a little bit darker just on camera than everything actually is. But if you want to ignore the fact that we are going to be replacing the bumper, this is what they're looking like. So this is probably one of the, I guess, more flashy modes. So the way that it works is the app itself has a cycle of colors, or rather features and just patterns, whatever you want to call them. So you can see right here, already named one, halos, and then halos and gills. So the halos and the gills, and then the gills themselves, you can do, this is mode 1, it's 2, 3, and it goes on. There's so many options on this thing, it's crazy. It's really just figuring out which one you like the most, because they all have these really cool effects that I think look really cool with the overall look of the car. Or you can even just do solid colors like that. This reads a little bit more white on camera, but this is a very, very nice purple. So this is one thing that I wanted to do for a while, just have purple gills. And then you can do the same thing with the halos, of course. So the halos, if you want to make them purple, there you go. So now you got purple everything. And yeah, definitely really, really cool. So I want to give a big shout out to Billy for selling these to me, because seeing them on his car, I definitely thought everything looked really, really good. Definitely wanted to emulate that. So the fact that he was moving on from his set, saw an opportunity, and here we are. Again, I do think I want to get a new lens just to get it to be nice, clean, and pristine. Also want to give a big shout out to Striker Lights for this setup, because they made the install super easy. I'm sure they do the same thing with all their other headlights as well. But the basic setup for these are not on the site yet. They have teased it a little bit, so I don't know if they're actually going to do it. But if you do have a set of Mustang style headlights and you want the full treatment on them, you can send them over and they will knock this out for you. They're really easy to install, they look awesome, and of course they still retain all the factory functionality. These things are looking insane, guys. I'm super happy with how they came out. I'm just gonna be cycling through some of the options that it has. These are for the halo specifically. Really cool thing of note, these are RGB IC, meaning you can have multiple colors on the same strip. And they do have all these flow animations. That one's actually really cool. Keep that one for now. And same thing with the gills. And so this is the turquoise setup. So probably gonna do a video more specifically on some of the options that these things come with. I didn't go super in depth on the install of the headlights themselves, like in terms of the factory functionality, because I do have a video on that already where I kind of walk you guys through it. It's all still the same stuff, it's just the added wires for the modules. And here is our little 4th of July setup, being that 4th of July is just around the corner. So I'll be rocking these basically that whole day. It's kind of obligatory at this point. But yeah, really happy with how these things came out. They look awesome. Big shout out to Striker Lights. Crazy work. Good news, the fog light housings have already arrived. The bumper should be here soonish. I do have to go pick that one up myself. So step 1 of fixing the front end is accounted for, even though the headlights were actually never really busted. But that's gonna do it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you in the next one.